store details of each newspaper and magazine it sells. Part of the database is shown, and you have it. You have how many columns? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 columns. That means you have 5 fields: product number, name of publication, selling price, frequency, and publisher. Now, the question says tick, that is the command word, tick the field name that will be the most appropriate primary key for the database. When you see a question like this and a scenario has been given, like an extract of the database, the table, now whatever answer you want to give must be, according to this table given to you, not to answer from the table you saw somewhere else, but from the one given to you in the question paper. So what are the field names you have? Product number, name of publication, selling price, frequency, and publisher. So the most appropriate for the primary key will be, it can be name of publication, it can be selling price, because you could have two magazines having the same selling price like you have in this example. The frequency, it could be daily, monthly, they may have it. But primary key is a field that uniquely identify every record. So out of all what you have here, which one can uniquely identify every record? So the best one is product number. You can see it is unique for each of the records. So product number will be the most appropriate. So you pick that product number and make it color red. Product number, okay, that is marked here. Then the next one is question B, 1B. The news agent has added a field called barcode to store the barcode number of the product. Explain the command word why a presence check is not suitable. It's not a suitable validation check for the barcode field. So what you need to know, what is a validation check, or what is validation? Validation is the kind of method used to ensure that data being entered meet certain criteria or is reasonable. So the question is now asking you, why is it that a presence check is not suitable? So for validation checks, we have different types. We have presence check, we have format check, we have length check, and check digits, and so on and so forth. So you can actually pick the correct answer from here. The reason is so simple, and it is because not every publication has a barcode. You ask me, how did I come about this? Not every publication has a barcode, because for it not to be included, it is possible that some publications may not have the barcode. It is quite possible. So you can't use presence check. Why? Because if you use presence check, that means the value, the field must not be empty. It must not be null. So in such cases, presence check cannot be used for barcode, because if presence check is used, that means every book must have a barcode, every publication. So take note of that. Then question C says that the news agent could use a relational database rather than a flat file database. The command word now describe the advantages of using a relational database rather than a flat file database. And this is a 4-mark question. So what you can do, you can structure it and make it okay, this is just asking for advantages. So you'll write all the 4 advantages of using a relational database rather than a flat file. So I go. You can start by saying a relational database uses data integrity, which means no discrepancy in the data. What does that mean? In a relational database, you have 2 or more tables joined together. So that means, and for one table, there must be a primary key, another table, a foreign key that will join together, and that enforces data integrity. So that means as you delete in one of the table, it takes effect across all the joined tables. That is what it means. So that is one advantage of using a relational database rather than a flat file database. Another advantage will be that data is not, okay, let me type it this way. Data is not unnecessarily duplicated. So you minimize duplicates of data. That is that. Another thing is that less memory is used in the computer, because if there is no data duplicates, unnecessary data duplicates, so the memory will be used judiciously. Then you can also say that queries can be created using many tables. Okay, you can create complex queries from several tables that are joined together. Another thing is that you can only have to input the data once into a relational database, therefore it saves time. So you have to put that, you only have to input the data once into a relational database, therefore it saves time. Okay, good. So any 4 points here will earn you the full mark. Then the next question, from the data shown in the part of the database, identify, that's the command word, the most appropriate data type for the selling price, the name of publication. So in this kind of question, you need to refer back to the table given to you. From the data shown in the part of the database, identify the most appropriate data type. We have different data type. So the most appropriate data type for selling price is, go to selling price. Okay, seeing it, yes, it is numeric data and it is decimal, but it has currency symbol. So this is best taken as numeric. And what type of numeric currency for selling price? And for selling price, okay, let me quickly do for selling price before name of publication. For selling price, that will be numeric because it accepts number. But what type of number? You say currency. Okay, because you can see currency symbol beside the number. Then name of publication, if you see name of publication, if you look at it, the best data type is text, or what we call the alphanumeric text. You can see that, okay, text can contain, you see a space, so space, okay, text. So that is the best to use. So you come here and say text or alphanumeric, text or alphanumeric, alphanumeric. Okay, that is very correct. Then the next one is number 2. So question 2 says state the most appropriate word or phrase to complete each sentence. State, that's a command word, to complete the most appropriate word or phrase to complete each sentence. So A, the type of data output from a sensor is analog. Yes, analog. The type of output is analog from a sensor, and the type of data read by a microprocessor is digital. And C, the item of hardware that converts data from a sensor so a microprocessor can read it is, that is an ADC. An ADC. Why is it so? An ADC, or what we call analog to digital converter. Okay, good. Now, since a sensor only processes analog data, then the computer processes digital data. So for them both of them to communicate, a device or an item of hardware that is needed is an ADC that will receive the analog signal from a sensor and convert it to digital before sending it to the computer for processing. Then question D, the type of sensor that is used in a refrigerator is temperature sensor. Temperature sensor. How do I know? What is temperature? Temperature is the degree of coldness or hotness of a body. So, and that's why we use a refrigerator. Okay, so that's temperature sensor. That's the type of sensor. Then question 3. A group of students are carrying out a study of the quality of river water for a project. They can either use a tablet computer or a smartphone to monitor and record their findings. So discuss is the command word. Discuss is the command word. The advantages and disadvantages of using a tablet computer rather than a smartphone for this project. So invariably we are just looking at advantages and disadvantages of tablet computer and a smartphone. Okay, so you can start with the advantages of using a tablet computer rather than a smartphone. For tablet computer, the advantages, you can say it is easier to connect devices onto a tablet, because it is expected that a tablet could have, like for example, more than one USB port, and a smartphone for that matter may just have only one USB port. So it is easier to connect devices onto a tablet, and other devices you want to connect to a tablet could be a printer, could be a scanner, graphics tablet, and so on and so forth. Then another advantage is that a tablet computer has a larger screen to see the findings you're working on for the project. Another thing is that you could also make use of the larger on-screen keyboard. In a tablet computer makes it easier to enter data. Okay, then you could also add that it has better software. A tablet computer has better software suited to the task. And for disadvantages, you could say that smartphones are more portable and can be carried in a pocket, whereas a tablet computer might not be so. So another thing, you can say that students are more likely to have smart with them at all times than having tablets. Then another thing for smartphone is that if cameras are to be used, then it is easier to use a camera with a smartphone compared to that of a tablet computer. So these are some of the points you can write to earn the full mark, 6 marks in this case. So the next question, that is question 3b. Question 3b, identify is a command word. 2 devices that could be used by the student to enter data. Now, if they are making use of a tablet computer, what are the likely input devices they will use to enter data? They will probably make use of a keyboard or camera. They could make use of touchscreen. They could make use of microphone or sensor because of the type of project they are using. So any 2 will earn you the full mark. And like I've been saying, take note that whenever you have this kind of question and the response you have to give has been numbered, so you are going to be marked by the way you have written in the right order. So in this case, if keyboard was the correct thing, you get it. Camera, you get it. So take note of that. Then the next one is question 4. A head teacher is considering setting up a card system for students to buy food in the school canteen. The head teacher is trying to decide whether to install a system that uses magnetic stripe card or one that uses chip and pin card readers. Then, so that is the consideration they are trying to make. So the command word here say compare the use of magnetic stripe card readers with the use of chip and pin card readers. Your answer must include similarities and differences. So that means invariably we are comparing magnetic stripe card readers with chip and pin card readers. So comparing that, we talk about the similarities and the differences, and this is a 6 marks question. So you need to organize your point. Since it's 6 mark questions and the question is asking for similarities and differences, you could make it 3 similarities and 3 differences, or you make it 4 similarities, 2 differences, or 2 similarities, 4 differences. Whichever one you know more, you write it more. So that is how to do it, but both sides must be covered, both similarities and differences. So let me start with the similarities. For the similarity, I start by saying both readers are in direct contact with the card, so they are not contactless. They are not contactless. Another thing is that both readers can cause wear and tear. Why? As it's making contact on the card, can cause wear and tear. Another one is that both are input devices. Okay, take note of that. Then if you go to differences, you can say that the chip and pin readers the user for the chip and pin readers for the chip and pin readers, the user needs to know the pin. That's a major difference between the chip and pin reader and the magnetic stripe card reader. For magnetic stripe, you just swipe it, but chip and pin reader, even after you have inserted the card, you need to also know the pin before it can be, authenticated. Okay, then the next one is that the chip and pin reader is susceptible to shoulder surfing, because while you are putting in the pin, somebody could be behind you shoulder sniffing or shoulder surfing the pin. Somebody could watch the buttons you press to know the pin. So that one is with chip and pin reader. Another one is that chip and pin reader prompts the user to enter a pin. In the case of magnetic stripe reader, it will not ask you for any pin. So, and again, that makes the chip and pin reader to be more secure. Okay, it is more secure as a pin is needed. So in case if the card is missing, before somebody can use it, you will need to at least know the pin. Then the differences continue. In the magnetic stripe reader, the card can be used by anyone as no pin is needed or required. So that's an issue with the magnetic stripe reader. So as long as anybody lays hand on the magnetic card reader and the card, they can use it. You don't need to have the pin with them. So then the next one you can add is that it has less data entry errors. Why? Because you don't need to do any manual input errors, as there is no actual manual input. So data entry error. Okay, so this any 6 here will earn you the full marks. So question 5 says a bridge and a router are examples of networking devices. So this question is actually from network. So explain the differences, the key word or the command word, so to say. Explain the differences between a bridge and a router. Between a bridge and a router. Both are networking devices, but they ask us to explain the differences, and this is just for 2 marks. Question 5 is for 2 marks, so you can start by saying that a bridge, you can say a bridge connects 2 LANs that use the same protocol. And you can also say that a bridge creates a single LAN from separate parts. So it means that a bridge connects two LANs together to form a single LAN. You understand that? A single LAN. So you will connect it and form a single LAN. So take note of that. Then you can say for a router, on the other hand, say a router allows data packets to be sent to either a LAN or a WAN. And you can say, conveniently say that a router connects a LAN to a WAN. Okay, take note of that. So make sure at least you talk about a bridge and a router. You pick like that and you earn the full mark. Very important. Then the next one, which is question 5b. IP addresses are used in computer networks. 5b. IP addresses are used in computer networks. So explain what is meant by an IP. So if you look at this, the command word here is explain, and we are talking about IP addresses. That is internet protocol. So what is meant by an IP address? So you could just start by saying, since IP is used as an acronym in this question, you could start by just telling us the full meaning of IP addresses, and that will help you to get 1 mark out of the 4 marks that has been allotted to this question. So you could start by saying IP address stands for internet protocol address, and you say it is a unique identifier. How do we mean by that? Because IP address must be different for each device on the network. That's why we call it a unique identifier. So, and by so doing, IP address determines the electronic location of a device in a network. So take note of that. So, and before or any device will connect to the internet, it needs the IP address of it. All devices connected to the internet use IP addresses. So that's what that simply means. So this will earn you the full mark. Please take note of that. Then for question number 5c, the question says explain the purpose of a routing table. This is also from computer network. Explain the purpose of a routing table. Now for a routing table, it is used, a routing table is used to determine where data packets will be directed, and again by so doing it stores route information. That is very important. and that means it stores IP addresses. Okay, good. So that's it for 2 marks. Then question C says that a cricket club secretary saves a list of players as a PDF file. Let me take that again. A cricket club secretary saves a list of players as a PDF file. Describe 2 disadvantages. The keyword there, or the command word, is describe 2 disadvantages of saving the list of players as a PDF file. So you can start by saying that for a PDF file, the disadvantages that can be there is that it is more difficult to edit the PDF. Take note when you're writing this kind of answer, don't say it is not possible to edit it. It is possible, but just more difficult. If you don't have a PDF writer, you might not be able to edit it. So don't just say it is, outrightly difficult, or it is outrightly impossible. It is possible, but it is more difficult, especially when you don't have a PDF writer. So another thing is that when you try to edit it, PDF sometimes render incorrectly when you are trying to edit it, so it may lose the layout, scatter the layout of the document. And if you must do it very well, you need, or you just say a PDF editor software is needed to edit, to edit the PDF. So take note of that. So you need to buy or to have a software, and if you don't have, that might be difficult to do. So that's just for 2 marks. Then the next part of the question is, the cricket club has a junior team for 6 to 8-year-old players. The secretary has produced an e-publication to attract new members to the junior team. Now look at that, they have mentioned age, so that means you might be talking about audiences here, so younger audience in this case. Now state 2 features of an e-publication that could not appear on a paper poster. State, that is the command word, 2 features of an e-publication that could not appear on a paper poster. So when you are using e-publication, what is e-publication? That's an electronic publication that you could blend multimedia content with. Like you could have hyperlink, you could have audio, you could have animation, you could have video, all those things are there for e-publication. So when you compare it with a paper poster, so what are the features of an e-publication that could not appear on a paper poster? So you say that you cannot add audio, you cannot easily blend audio. Another thing is that there will not be interactivity, it will not be interactive with paper poster. Another one is, you could say animation, it's not possible to add animation, it's not possible to turn pages automatically, text to speech is not possible, and so on and so forth. So that is comparing e-publication to paper poster. Then question C says, describe the features that could be used to make the e-publication attractive to a younger audience. Like I said, since they mentioned 6 to 8-year-old, so that means describing the features that could be used to make the e-publication attractive to a younger audience. So when you have younger audience, what are the things that excite or interest younger audience? So you say for younger audience, you can attract the interest of younger audience, you could make use of bright colors. Bright colors could be used to attract the interest of younger audience. You could do that. You could use animations, could be used. You could use sound younger audience are usually, attracted with sound or sound effects, cartoons. Okay, there should be more picture than text. There should be more pictures than text when dealing with younger audience. Younger audience also like games or activities, for content to be easily understood. Okay, and so on and so forth. So we have about 6. You could also add that the wording should be simple. Should be simple, and then you could say large text, fonts, so that it is easier to read. They like, young audience like all this, and it can attract their attention. So the next one is question 7. Question 7 says that an employee in a company has used the QWERTY 123 as his login password for some time. Give 3 reasons why this is not advisable. QWERTY 123, number 1, is easier to pronounce. So if I want to shoulder solve or shoulder sniff, if I just see this as a password, I can easily recall because it's a straight pronunciation, QWERTY 123. And another thing is that QWERTY can be found on the keyboard just like that. So if you are pressing it and somebody is watching your fingers, you can see that you press QWERTY because they follow like that on the keyboard, and 123 on the keyboard. So all of these reasons are what you consider when saying that this is not advisable. So you can start by saying that the password is not strong in the first place. This is not a strong password. You can say the password is not strong. This is not a strong password. As you can see, the password is not strong, and then you can easily guess it. It is easy to guess the password. Another thing you can say that the letters and number are in sequence on the keyboard. You can say that. You can also add that it is easy to shoulder solve the password. So all these are very important when you are writing your response. Now let's go to 7b of this question. It says that complete the sentences using the most appropriate data protection method from the list. Complete the sentences. Okay, your answers must be different in each case. You have all these, okay, anti-spyware, biometrics, a digital certificate, a dongle, encryption, a firewall, two-factor authentication, user ID. So let's read each of the sentences and see which word completes them. So number I, a method which scrambles the data so that it cannot be understood is encryption. So the first one there is encryption. Encryption, you can see that, encryption. Then the next one, a fingerprint, is an example of this. A fingerprint, that is biometrics. Biometrics. Then third one, a method of guaranteeing a website is authentic. A website is authentic, that is a digital certificate. A digital certificate. And when you have a question like this, your response must be from the list given. Okay, and the fourth one, a hardware device that filters the information coming through the internet connection into a LAN is, let's look at it, and that's a firewall. A firewall. Okay, good. Now can we go to the next question, which is question 7c. An employee in the company uses his is company password for other account, the same password. Explain why this is not a good idea. Why using the same password for all other accounts is not a good idea. Explain why this is not a good idea. So it is very simple, because it means that if someone finds the password for one of the accounts, other accounts are in trouble, other accounts are already compromised. Okay, that is that. Then another one is that, let me type the other one. You could also say that if someone finds the password for one of the systems, then he has gained the company password. That's the implication. So any one of these is correct. This is just a 1 mark question, so any one of these will give you the full mark. Then let's go to question 8 very quickly. Question 8. Microprocessor control devices are used in the home. Describe with examples how using these devices can affect the health and fitness of their users. So as you are describing, you'll be given example when you see this kind of question, and this is a 6 marks question. So when answering it, you need to be careful so that you can earn the full mark. So you can start by saying that by saying the cause and the effect, meaning that it is a cause and effect question. You describe it, you give example, okay, of how using these devices can affect the health and fitness of their users. So you start by saying that it reduces, let me increase this, it reduces the amount of time it takes to complete a task. And don't forget, like I've been saying, when you see a question like this, you just say how using these devices can affect. Affect does not necessarily mean negative effect or positive effect. So you are free to talk about the positive and the negative effect. So take note of that. Therefore, gives the user more leisure time. That's cause. This is the cause. Now the effect is that therefore it gives the user more leisure time. That's why I said that this is a cause and effect kind of question. So you have said the cause and the effect of it. So understand the question before you begin to answer. Okay, the next one is that the user does not need to be present when the device is working. Like the washing machine, don't need to be there while it's washing. And the effect is that therefore it gives the user more time for exercise. Okay, more or less, whichever one, more or less exercise. Okay, as the case may be. Then the next one is that it allows the user to use interactive games devices, therefore helps improve their fitness. Okay, good. Then the next one, when the device does all the work, then what happens? Then it makes the user lazy. You understand what I said the other time? You say cause and effect kind of question. So when you say the cause, the effect of it, so when the device does all the work, then it makes the user lazy. So you can say this again and again. Another thing is that, let me add that to this. Okay, users are not doing as much manual work, then this can cause maybe obesity. health issue like obesity. Okay, take note of that. So with this, each of these, the cause and effect 2 marks, the cause and effect 2 marks. So before you know it, you would have earned all the 6 marks in this question. So that is question 8. Then for question 9, Rowena's laptop computer contains a small capacity solid state drives of 32 gigabytes and a large capacity hard disk drive of 1024 gigabytes. State, giving a reason for your choice. You give a reason for your choice, a use for the SSD and a use for the HDD in the laptop computer. Your answers must be different in each case. So that means for SSD, you are going to explain the use and give a reason for that, and for HDD you say the use and give a reason for that. So you can just write that and you get it. So let's just do that. So this is a 2-mark question, use for the SSD and a use for the HDD in your laptop. Your answer must be different in each case. So now let me start by saying this one, SSD, the use is to store the operating system, that's the OS, and the reason is that because it is faster for faster loading of the operating system. Since operating system is an essential system software that is responsible for the smooth running of the computer, so you want it to be for faster loading. Okay, you want it to load so fast, you say that, or for the OS to run faster, whichever one. And then so these 2 marks. And for the HDD might be better to store the application software. Okay, the application software, and the reason will be that it can store more files because of the large capacity. The HDD can store more files because of the large capacity. Okay, so or it can store more files or larger file. So in this case you would have earned the 2 marks. Then let's go to question 9b. The question 9b says that the laptop computer also contains internal memory. Give 2 examples of internal memory. Give, just state it, of internal memory. So you can say the internal memory are RAM, or if you prefer you can write it in full, random access memory, and ROM, read only memory. All right, this is question 9b. Now let's go to question 10. I'm going to show the solution to question 10 till question 12 in the next video. So please, I want you to share this video with other candidates that are preparing for this exam. Like this video and subscribe to our YouTube channel so that you'll be updated as we release new videos. Thank you. Bye for now.